Welcome back to Huskies Central Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Simons, joined as always by my co-host, Jamie Heward. We're breaking down all things Washington Huskies basketball, and wow, what a weekend to talk about. The Huskies took on Iowa on Saturday, February 22nd, and while the result wasn't what we hoped for, one guy continues to be the heartbeat of this team, great Osobor.
Yeah, it's the same story we've been telling all season. The Huskies fall to Iowa 83-71, another tough loss in a season full of them, but great Osobor. Man, he's a warrior. The guy put up his 8th double-double of the year, 15 points and 11 rebounds, and honestly, he was the only reason this game didn't get completely out of hand early. Osobor did everything he could to keep Washington in it.
Absolutely. And let's set the scene here. Iowa's Carver-Hawkeye Arena, not an easy place to play. Washington's sitting at 13-14 now, 4-12 in the Big Ten, while Iowa's 14-13, 5-11 in conference play. Neither team's lighting the world on fire, but Osobor's efficiency stood out. He wasn't just chucking shots, he was smart, deliberate, and still managed to lead the team in scoring and rebounding. That's wild for a guy who's also topping the assist charts at 3.4 per game this season.
And let's not forget where this guy came from. England, by way of Montana State and Utah State, now thriving under Danny Sprinkle in Seattle. I mean, 15 points and 11 boards against a Big Ten team on the road? That's not a fluke. He's averaging 15 points and 8.7 rebounds on the year, shooting 47.5% from the field. The dude's a walking double-double machine.
Absolutely.
But here's my question, Lance. Why can't the rest of the team match that energy?
That's the million-dollar question, Jamie. You look at this Iowa game, and it's clear Osobor's carrying the load. Tyler Harris has been a solid second option. He's got 14.3 points per game, and those 15 blocks that tie him for second in the Big Ten. But beyond those two, it's been inconsistent. The Huskies' offense struggles in conference play, averaging just 69.1 points per game, dead last in the Big Ten. Against Iowa, they couldn't stop the Hawkeyes shooting 47.6% from three, according to some posts on X. That's a defensive breakdown Osobor can't fix alone.
Yeah, and Iowa's no juggernaut. They're missing their leading scorer, Owen Freeman, and still managed to drop 83 on us. That's a red flag. I was reading up on this game from some other angles, and they pointed out Washington's defense ranks 242nd nationally in points allowed. Osobor's out there battling in the paint, but if the perimeter defense is Swiss cheese, it doesn't matter how great is.
And it's not just the defense. I think the transition to the Big Ten's physicality has been brutal. This is their first year in the conference, and you can see it in the record. 4-12 against Big Ten teams. Sprinkle's trying to build something, and Osobor's the cornerstone, but the supporting cast isn't there yet. Look at that Rutgers game a few days earlier. 89, 85 in overtime. A heartbreaker they could have won. Osobor nearly had a triple-double with 6 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. The guy's doing it all.
Oh, that Rutgers game stung. Mekhi Mason dropped 20 with 6 threes, and Frank Kepnang's back in the mix off that knee procedure, adding 14. You'd think that'd be enough to get over the hump, but nope. It's like the Huskies are this close to figuring it out, but they can't seal the deal. And Osobor's out there passing like a point guard, 10 assists. That's insane for a forward.
Totally. And Kepnang's return is a big deal. He's only played a handful of games since December 2022, but against UCLA on January 31st, he had 7 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 21 minutes. If he and Osobor can gel in the front court, that's a foundation to build on. But the backcourt's got to step up. DJ Davis might have been out against Iowa with an injury. Reports were unclear, but even when he's in, it's not enough firepower.
Yeah, and speaking of building, I saw the Seattle Times piece from December about Osobor and Harris forming a formidable duo. Harris had that 27-point explosion against Alcorn State earlier this season, and Osobor's cool with letting him cook. That's leadership, knowing when to defer. But the rest of the roster? It's thin. They're 116th in the net rankings, 0-1 in Quad 1 games. They've got to find a way to beat these middling Big Ten teams like Iowa if they want any shot at the tournament.
Tournament feels like a long shot now, Jamie. They're fighting for seeding in the Big Ten tournament. March 12th to 16th in Indianapolis is looming. But let's zoom out. Osobor's a preseason All-American, Mountain West Player of the Year last season at Utah State. He followed Sprinkle to Washington, and he's delivering. Is he enough to turn this program around long-term?
He's a spark, no doubt. Sprinkle's got a track record. He managed to revitalize Montana State and Utah State, and Osobor's the perfect fit for his system. But they need more recruiting juice. The women's team under Tina Langley just landed 3 top 100 recruits for 2025, including a 5-star.
Wow.
The men's side needs that kind of haul. Osobor's a senior. He's got 1 year left, maybe 2 with eligibility quirks. They can't waste his prime.
Agreed, and fans are still enjoying him. Hopefully Washington basketball fans are enjoying seeing Osobor on the court. I know I am. He's must-watch hoops. So, prediction time. They've got Wisconsin next on February 27th. Badgers are rolling, coming off a brutal loss to Oregon. Can Osobor keep the Huskies competitive?
Wisconsin's a tall order. Top of the Big Ten. Fast and physical. Osobor might go for 20 and 10, but I don't see them winning on the road. I'll say 78-65, Badgers. He'll shine, but the team's got to catch up.
Oh, that's a fair take. I'll go 82-70, Wisconsin. Osobor's great, but it's a team game. All right, that's all for today, folks. Follow us on socials, drop your thoughts on Osobor's season, and we'll catch you next time on the Huskies Central Podcast. Thanks for listening.